Hey everybody, I'm not great, and now that I've finally completed my first run through the game Vagante, and because there's a chance I'll be playing it with somebody in the near future, I thought now might be a good time to record a little, it's called an introductory video, like the basics of Vagante, like the first world and the basic characters and things like that. So let's get into it. Whenever you first start Vagante, you can go through and do a little training area. I'm wondering if I can even do that right now. If it'll let me. Tutorial, sweet. So for this tutorial mission, we've chosen a basic character of a knight, and it's going to give you, the basics of the game. Say move, jump, jump. And you don't want to hit the spikes. Spikes are an instant kill. Sometimes they're really easy to see, like here. Sometimes they're hidden behind. Yep. Drop down. Yep. Yeah, here we go. While spikes are an instant death, you can walk by them just fine. So, in the caves, they're pretty easy to see. As the game goes on, they can be a little bit trickier. You can grab onto corners. You can climb ladders. You can... Alright. Crawling is a little bit trickier than it used to be. But with crawling, you're crouched down, you're moving slow. And just like the prompt on the screen says, you can climb over the edge and then drop down. You can also swim. And hitting the jump button lets you swim faster. You do have a breath timer, as you can see here. So don't stay underwater for too long. Here's a chest. Got a demonic broadsword. You can open your menu and try to equip it. This one is 3 to 7 damage, normal attack speed. It can apply freezing, and it gives you a +1 boost to your strength stat. Your stats, since we're in the start menu, your stats are all here. Every character has a slightly different set of stats when they start. Like, obviously, the knight, not very smart, doesn't have to be lucky. Really high vitality, not super fast, but pretty strong. And so over here, obviously his melee damage is highest, his range damage is pretty low, and his attack speed is But we'll go ahead and we will pop this demonic broadsword on. Woof. Oh, we got slimes. There we go. Doors like that, you'll never see anywhere in the game. Just a fun fact. At the end of every level, you'll have a bonfire. You can rest at it and heal up. As you go through a level, you'll gain experience points, and if you gain enough, at the end of a level, you'll be able to level up. You can get up to 1 point per level. There are such things as destructible walls. Bows and arrows. So you do have projectile attacks. And bouncy. I like it. Oh. Really? Alright, fine. Dude just does not care. Alright. Sometimes you get your arrows back, sometimes you don't. Oh, here. Magic. By the way, you can see that we have our original sword and our broadsword equipped. You can cycle through weapons. In my case, it's holding the left trigger and then hitting the attack button. Over here, in my case again, it's B that uses the bow. If you charge up a shot like this, but you don't want to waste the arrow, you can actually hit the left trigger again, and you can put it away. Same with magic. You can charge up a spell, and then hit the left trigger, and away it goes. Boom. Hey. Stop it. We'll go ahead and cast Fireball again. There we are. Boss's dust. And quickly swap weapons. Yeah, with the left trigger, yep. Swap melee. There we go. Oh, hey, it's a shop. Cool. There are different potions in the game. Oh, fuck. Crap. Ah. You can also accidentally attack the shopkeeper. But once he's dead, just go and take everything that he has. It's a good thing we got that potion of regeneration, because now we can drink it. Potion of strength and the potion of quickness. There we go. I could have easily afforded all of those things, but instead I accidentally poked the shopkeep with my sword. And that's the basics of the game. So, okay, so I'll give you a rundown on the warrior real fast. I was not expecting that transition to happen. Let's see. Warrior, like I said, good on strength, starts with the sword. Kind of a slow attack, but not terrible. And it's strong. Whenever you're playing with a controller, if you come across something like this box, you can hold down and the right trigger. You can pick up the box. And then whenever you want to throw it, you can throw it from side to side. You can set it down. There we go. By hitting X. There we go. Or you can throw it up. That was not what I wanted. I was hoping it would go higher. Those are arrow traps. They are set off whenever they see something. Like literally anything will set them off. Enemies, boxes, whatever. The item we just picked up is a lightning wand. And since we're not planning on going through the entire game, this is just kind of an introduction. Weapons like the lightning wand, you can see it has 10 charges on it, which means you can use it 10 times before you have to recharge it. We'll go ahead and show this one off on that little bat down there. See, isn't that nice? Pretty strong, but you only get so many uses. In order to recharge it, you have to have a scroll of recharge. There we go. So as you can see, we can move around pretty easily. Chickens. This is a great time to talk about chickens. So as you go through the map, you may find rats. You can find bats, like our little friend over there. Right there. You can also find chickens, fish. These are enemies that you can take. Well, the chicken and the rat aren't really enemies, but they're mobs that you can take with you through the final door of the level and throw them on the bonfire in between levels, and they'll give you an item. The chicken gives you a cooked chicken, which is good for healing. The bat, I think that gives you like a night vision sort of thing. It increases. They all have their abilities that they give you. You can do the same thing with the fish, with the rat. The only one that you want to bring through the door alive is the chicken. Because if you kill the chicken first and then you throw it on the bonfire, you just get a rotten chicken. There we are. As you can see here, we have ladders that have little spaces between them. You can kind of jump between the spaces. We're going to look for hidden destructible walls. Then over here, we've got a book. It's going to teach us the spell Elic Lance. Now this is one of a few spells, it might be the only spell left in the game at this point, that has an infinite number of charges. So you can use it as many times as you want. It recharges quickly, but it's not nearly as strong as other spells. It's also one of the starting spells that you get if you play the wizard class, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Um, Down there is our first boss, and that's the baby dragon. Um, One of the great things about bosses in this game is that they give off their own light. So even in a dark cave like this, you can see them, and if you're not ready to fight them, you can choose to avoid them. Over here we've got more barrels. We've got another slime. Ow. Surprise slime. One mechanic to keep in mind with the knight is that you can attack, you can also jump and attack, and anything that your sword comes in contact with, it'll do damage to. So you can start your attack and then jump, you can jump and then do your attack, you can do them both at the same time. Play with the timing on it. See what works for you. And there's our little rat friend. We have a chicken waiting for us, so we don't need to worry about the rat so much. You can see there we just picked up a scroll and a dagger. Now, scrolls and potions, whenever you first pick them up, you're not going to know what they do. Two ways to figure out what they do is to either identify them with a scroll of identify, or use them. And since you have to have a scroll of identify to figure out what other scrolls and potions do, we're going to go ahead and see if we can try to use this one. So you read it with X, and this was a scroll of magic mapping. You see over here we have a dagger. The dagger is not identified. Now we could try to put it on and see what it does, but there's always a small risk that the dagger could be cursed. If it's cursed, we won't be able to take it off until we find a scroll of uncurse. And that will let us remove it. We have neither of those things yet, so no worries. Over here, this anvil is called the Smith. Any extra items that you have, you can throw on the anvil and basically sacrifice them. After you've sacrificed so many items, the Smith will give you a random new item that's usually a magical item. Go ahead and rearrange our inventory a little bit. As you can see, we picked up this potion. We don't have a scroll of identify, so we don't know what the potion does. There are lots of different types of potions. Some will permanently increase one of your base stats. Some of them will permanently decrease one of your base stats. It's always by 1 point, so it's either plus 1 point or minus 1 point. Some will heal you, some will poison you, and some will give you temporary buffs, like increasing your strength or magic or speed. There's all sorts of them. Boom, boom. The height that we just fell from is about as high as you can fall from without taking damage. Any more than that, or a little more than that, and what'll happen is, you'll take fall damage and you'll be stunned for a little bit. While you're stunned, you can be hurt, so try not to fall too far. Now we've got 20 gold pieces, as you can see up in the top right corner of the screen. Let's see if there's anything we can buy. No, but with 3 more gold pieces, we can buy that potion of regeneration, which you generally want. There's no way in hell we're getting 78 gold, but if we could, it would be tempting instead to buy these apprentice gloves, as they would increase our dexterity and cold resist. But if you look at that blue text there, they also give you wall phasing, which is an extra ability that you can find on magical weapons and armors and things like that. In this case, wall phasing lets you walk through walls, which can be handy. But whenever you're inside of a wall, it's just like being underwater. You have to hold your breath, and if you run out of breath, you take damage and you can die. So let's go ahead and tackle the dragon. He's a good example of a first boss. So you get close enough and he wakes up. The dragon has really simple patterns, as do most bosses at this point in the game. He's just going to spit fire at you. It's always 3 fireballs, and the more damage you've done to him, the faster the fireballs come out. There's also another attack that he can do, which is a ground stomp, which is what he's doing right there. Boom, boom, boom. Ah! Ah! And there we go. Now he's dead. All the bosses have patterns. You just have to learn what they are and learn how to either avoid their attacks or exploit them. Anything else? You can see our map up there in the top left corner of the screen. If there were any parts that we had not explored yet, they would be blue, especially with the scroll of magic mapping that we used. None of them are blue, so let's go. And we got a key. Every boss has a key, and every level has a chest. We got the key off the boss, so now we can open the chest, and it's going to give us a random item, like a weapon or an armor, and like a couple potions. In this case, we still don't know what the hell any of these potions are. But one good thing is that the weapon or item that you get out of the chest comes pre-identified, so you don't have to worry about it being cursed. You can just pop it right on. In this case, this is a cestus. It's a fist weapon. It's really quick. You can see in the blue text it says that it is envenomed, which means that it can poison enemies, and that poison never goes away. So it will poison enemies forever and ever and ever. Alternatively, you can also get weapons that say they're coated in poison. If they're coated in poison, they can only hit an enemy so many times before the poison wears off. Now we'll go ahead and buy that potion of regeneration. We are not going to attack the shopkeeper this time. There we go. If the potion of regeneration, like whenever you buy a potion from the store, or a scroll for that matter, I don't even know if you can buy scrolls, honestly. But whenever you buy something from the store, it comes pre-identified as well. In this case, you see the potion of regeneration. We do have a new scroll. Whenever we read it, you get that yellow square that pops up around it. That tells us that you can apply its effect to another item. This could be like a scroll of recharge. It could be a scroll of identify, which we'd want to use on our potions or our dagger or that ring. Or it could be a scroll of enchant, which would take the, like, whatever we apply it to and try to enchant it. And most of the time the enchantments are positive, sometimes they're not. This one we will try to use on this ring and see if it's a scroll of identify. Nope. So we enchanted that ring, but we still don't know what the ring is. If you're feeling daring, you can pop it on, but be prepared to face the consequences. Now that we're done with the level, we can go, we can set our bonfire. I forgot to bring the chicken. That's on me. But we can go ahead and level up. With the knight, you can level up your sword abilities. You can level up your holy aspect. You can level up your defense, or with any character, you can level up any of your base stats. Increase them by 1, and sometimes get some special effects that go along with it. We're going to... With the knight, I like to level up holy, as that means that if you fall, you don't take any damage. But we're going to bounce. And select a new character. This time we'll go with the rogue. These backgrounds are all bonuses that you can apply to your character after you've played for a while. Starting out fresh, I don't remember if you have like one or none. But just use whatever one appeals to you the most. In this case, yeah, we'll do speed for the rogue, as it just seems appropriate. Oh, it's a little rat friend. So the rogue starts off with a dagger. It's very fast, but not as strong as the sword. You also start off with a bow and 30 arrows. So you are already equipped to a fair amount of range damage. We got a purple scroll. It is a scroll of teleport. This can be really helpful or really bothersome. There we go. Anything that you can pick up, you can also throw at an enemy. And do damage to them. Sometimes you'll find small sections of wall that you can break. And sometimes in those small sections, you'll find a chicken. That'll automatically heal you for about 40 HP. So they're very handy things. You can see our rogue is a lot faster than our knight. Stop it. There we go. But you can also see it not doing hardly like anywhere near as much damage. The bow does more damage though. Just takes a while to draw. That was actually a really good example. In the last showcase with the knight, it was the teal scroll that was magic mapping, but this time it was the pink scroll that was magic mapping. So all the colors of the potions and the scrolls, they change every playthrough. You can see we've got more spikes here that we want to avoid. I'm looking for, there's another arrow trap. Here we go. So right there is a pressure plate. And if you step on that pressure plate, you drop a boulder. Boom. But if you drop a boulder on spikes, well, if you drop a boulder on spikes from more than one tile up, you can actually destroy the spikes permanently, which is super handy. We picked up that flame pillar spell. We'll go ahead and use that. Ow. We really don't want to fight him here because of those spikes. Now, spikes will also apply to enemies, but they don't apply to bosses. Bosses will just smash them like they were a boulder. There we go. He is absolutely stuck down there. That's not great. And this guy is, I believe he's a goblin, and he has 3 attacks. He has his jumping attack, which you saw there. He has a dash forward, and then he'll pick you up and he'll throw you. And if he throws you into something, he'll do damage to you. And you couldn't really see it very well. Come on. There we go. That was the grab attack. And then there was his axe attack, where he'll dash at you with his axe and try to cut you open. Ow. And it does a lot of damage. But we made it out. We still got more than half our health. We have our key for the area. Let's go ahead and make it to the end. And you can see there we have our anvil to smith. This is the scholar. And it is a kind of like the anvil where you can drop weapons and armor on the anvil. With the scholar, you can throw in potions not potions, scrolls and spell books, and it'll give you something in return for those. I'm waiting for the really fun one. Oh, hi there. There we go, peasant shoes. So one thing about spells, you can see I'm using my fire pillar pretty liberally. Whenever you finish a level, your spells will recharge. And also, if you pick up like duplicate spell books, so say you have, I got another flame pillar in the next level, that would actually increase not only the number of charges I get per stage, but also increase the power of the spell that I have. Stabby stab stab. Even slimes are weak to spikes. We'll go ahead and there we go. Unnatural steel sword. Another fun thing is we're gonna go ahead and there we go. Any class can use any weapon or any armor. There are some that make more sense for some classes over others, but it doesn't matter. Like you don't have to have like a certain stat to wield a certain weapon. I can just pop this fucker on and just yay fun. Let's see what's in the shop again. The cestus. See, there's our cursed item. If we had 4 more gold, I could show you what that does, but we don't, so I won't. Let's see. Anything else? Anything else? I think that's it for the rogue. We'll go ahead and... Oh, I'll show you. Where is our rat friend? There he is. You pick him up just like you would a barrel. Whenever you're carrying something, anything other than a fairy, which we'll get to here in a little bit. Whenever you're carrying something, you cannot grab onto ledges. Or rather, you will grab onto ledges, but you'll also drop whatever it is you're trying to carry. So keep that in mind whenever you start falling down. Let's see, I'll show off. Come on, there we go. So you can still grab onto the corner, but I tossed the rat. Go ahead, while carrying the rat, sit down at the fire like you usually would. And the rat ends up on the fire. Pick it up. Don't forget to pick it up. But you pick it up and you get a cursed rat. It says rat on a stick. It heals you a little bit and it gives you speed. For the rogue, whenever you level up, you can choose between acrobatics, which actually gives you like a dodge roll. You can choose archery to make your arrows and bows do more damage and fun stuff. Like this one, if I was drawing my bow, I'd still be able to move around freely. This will make them ricochet, like your arrows ricochet. They'll have like piercing. It's neat stuff. You can be a dagger specialist, where your dagger has like a higher critical chance. Hold up and attack to throw your dagger. Thrown daggers will return to their owner. And then thrown daggers strike, yeah. And then there's shadow, so you have stealth. So you duck for a little bit. Yeah, I'll show that off. You duck for a little bit. Phew. No one can see you. That's the basics of the rogue. Moving on to the last starter class is the mage. And I guess I should show off, like, with each of these you have 4 different skins that you can choose from. Doop, 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 doop. Sure. And then with the mage, we'll go ahead and do bookworm. So the mage starts off with a staff. I'll show you what that was here in just a minute. You also start off with the spell Eloquence, which we went over in the last round. And, Frost Nova. Stop it. There we go. Frost Nova. Frost Nova has a lot of charges, doesn't really do much damage, but it'll freeze enemies near you to give you a chance to hit them. Because with your staff, you're not going to be doing a whole lot of melee damage. Doop-a-doop. Hey. Oh. I'll show you. 1. See that? Ow. But if we freeze him... There we go. Now, once something has been frozen once, there's a little bit of a cooldown until you can really freeze it again. So I've done this twice on accident. With the staff, one thing that you can do that you can't really do with other weapons is you can charge it up and fire a projectile. Projectiles will regenerate. Hey, stop it. But only after you hit an enemy. So you have to physically hurt an enemy to get more charges on your staff. But you can also fire off like little spell things with your staff. And different staffs have different projectiles that they fire. So, experiment and figure some stuff out. This is another interactable object. It's called the Bloody. Now, if you step in here, you will get one of your stats randomly increased. But it hurts. It hurts a lot. Here's our shop. We've got a crossbow, and we've got some peddler boots. Can't afford either one, so we'll keep moving on. Yeah, the mage can't even one-shot those red bats, which is just sad. There we go. So normally for the mage, I like to focus on the Eloquence spell. It does the most damage. It has an infinite, number of charges. It can break a barrel in one attack. There we go. We have 2 teal scrolls. Maybe it's a scroll of Identify. There we go. So we have those gloves and we have these boots. See? It's a good thing we did not put those boots on. But we can go ahead and put these gloves on, and they'll give us 1 extra point in vitality, which will immediately give us 10 health, and increase our max HP by 10 while we have them on. This one also allows you to grab walls, so you can kind of like do a wall climb, which can definitely be handy in some circumstances. Gotta do melee damage to the wall. Almost got me. There we go. So we'll go ahead, do a freeze on this guy, switch over. Ow. Boof. Crap. Yeah, he summons more goblins. Ow, stop it. Ow. Ah! There we go. Oh, good. We've already got a rat that we can bring with us. There's another spell. Obviously, mages, super high intelligence, not very high vitality, not very high strength. They can walk. And here's a list of our spells. We're just going to go ahead and see what happens whenever you drink a potion without thinking about what it is. Oh good, it was a potion of regeneration. This is also a book. It's the most worthless spell in the game, and just lets you dash forward. We're not going to read it, but I will show you what you can do with it. Ah, get away from me. Jeez. So terrible. Water and lightning don't mix. You will hurt yourself if you try, ow, to use a lightning weapon or a lightning attack while you are underwater. So don't do it. Just don't. That's another enemy. It's kind of a trap enemy. You can see the little green stuff on the ground there. Wow, my dogs are freaking the fuck out. There we go. Okay, the trap that I fall for the most is I jump down off of this platform into that back corner. You can see these mushrooms back here are kind of hiding these spikes. And whenever they're right on the edge of your, like, light, just don't do it. Don't do it. And they're also kind of hiding this guy, too. What did we get? We got a hammer. That's a shocking hammer. We also got another potion of regeneration and whatever this potion is. Let's see. Potion of strength. Nice. I don't like using staffs, so I'm going to go ahead and swap over to the hammer. I like being a bonky mage. Do a bonk. Oh, there we go. And you can see in the green text over there, it says it's coated with poison. Because it is. I don't believe that the poison wears off if you do things like hitting walls or barrels, but it definitely wears off whenever you hit living things. There we go. Slow aura and 2 dexterity. Sweet. We'll go ahead and take that potion of regeneration too. Why not? Now, if you remember, our hammer is electrified. So if we hit something with it while we're underwater, we'll hurt ourselves. We try to use our Elec Lance. See, we just took a little bit of electrical damage there. Can we get anything at the shop? No, we can't, so we'll go away. And we're going to keep on going with this character just because I want to show you what you get on every second stage of every world. This time we'll take a bat with us. Get an eyeball, a cooked eye. That will give you extra sight. I'm gonna go ahead and blunk. So that's cool. And remember the Book of Dash that we brought with us? Well, we don't want to learn that spell. It's useless. So instead of learning, we could either give it to a scholar, one of those green cauldrons, or we can throw it on the fire and get an extra 10 HP. Scrolls, if you do the same thing, will get you 2 HP. Ooh, alright. So, the wizard, their special skills. You have alchemy, which gives you potion knowledge, where all potions will be identified. You can mix and match potions. It's really, really cool. Spellcaster, it cools down your spells and deal critical damage with a spell. Spellcasting can't be interrupted and enables complete movement while casting a spell. Enchant is wicked fun, and we're actually going to use that right now. It'll let you take a spell and apply its effect to your weapon. So, we'll charge up a spell. There we go, and we'll use our right trigger. And now, our weapon is electrified. We can also do that with another weapon that's already got another thing on it. So we'll charge up our Frost Nova. And we can apply that to our hammer. So our hammer is now electric. Let's see if it says. It's shocking, but then it's also frost, so it'll be both. It has the potential to freeze an enemy in place, or shock them, or both. So, cool. And then the last thing is the rod. Increases the rod recharge rate. Charge rod to increase damage. Rods will recharge from spell damage. Auto cast rods if attack hits an enemy, and automatically cast your current spell after overcharging a rod. So, neat stuff. On to level 2. Oh wow, that's super fortunate. So this is a fairy. Now, on the second stage of every world, you want to find the fairy, and then you want to bring them with you through the exit. Another thing unique to second stages are locked doors like these. We're freezing, we're poisoning, and we're electrocuting. I love it. There we go. The fairies, you do have to kind of break them out of their prisons. She is safe like this for now, so I'm going to leave her in there. But to break her out, you would just... boop. In later levels, they are carried by stronger enemies. And so you have to kill the enemy to free the fairy. Just going to break all this stuff. We have so many multicolored scrolls. This one is a scroll of uncurse. So if we had been wearing a cursed item, that would uncurse it and make it normal. This gray scroll is either going to be a recharge or enchant, since we already know identify. And that's enchant. This one is magic mapping. And this one is probably a recharge, so we'll use it there. And that'll automatically recharge our magic rod or any wands that we have. Ow. Electrified weapon underwater, right. So with levels that have a locked door, and it's always the second stage of a world, whenever they have a locked door, there's only one key on every level, and that's the key that you get from the boss, which in this case is a dragon who's living in a literal pit of spikes. Why would you do that, you ass? Come on. Ow, you got me. We're just gonna tank him. It's fine. Everything's fine. God, I wanted to show off... Oh, well, we got the key. I'll show off opening the door. So I can either use the key on the chest for the level, or I can use it on this door. This door will take us to a special stage that has something called an orb. And if you collect 4 orbs throughout your playthrough, you will unlock the secret version of the final boss of the game. We'll go ahead and unlock that. And we're dead. So, that is the basics of Vagante. Don't fall on spikes. Look for fun stuff to interact with. Have fun picking up all sorts of weapons and armors that do all sorts of crazy things. Then that one, obviously, cursed and all that good stuff. And have fun with the game. It's a lot of challenging platforming and boss fights and tanky enemies, and it's also a lot of fun just seeing what you pick up and what you can do with it and how you use it to progress through the game. So thank you all for watching. I do hope you enjoyed this primer on an amazing roguelike that people don't play nearly enough. If you like the video, then hey, like the video. If you like the channel, which is generally nothing like this. This is just kind of a special recording that I was doing. But if you like the channel, go and, take a look at some other videos and then maybe think about subscribing. And whether you do or don't, because I have no control over anything that you do, which is as it should be, I do hope you have a good one.